for those of you that don't know, I am a voice actor. Base amateur voice actor for terms of like I'm not getting paid a lot to do the work that I do, but I am in a few things. So I'm in 2 video games. I'm like a host for a few YouTube channels that unfortunately are no longer active at the moment. But if you find those YouTube channels, I am the person talking in those videos. And so one of those games, it's a Five Nights at Freddy's VR fan game called Polar Dread that I voice an animatronic in that game. And a YouTuber by the name of Plain Trace just did a video on it, like literally released like an hour ago. And the Discord chat that I'm in, that's like the community and devs for the game, really raving about it. So I figured, since I'm a voice in that game, I'm one of the animatronics, and it's like there's a lot of downloads, but it's not really talked about too much online. I thought it would be a good idea to see what a YouTuber is necessarily like, what they're saying about it. I want to watch it together with you guys. I think it would be fun. I was streaming today anyways, got the notification that the video dropped, and let's see what this guy has to say about a game that I'm in. I figured that would be pretty cool.
Polar Dread is every bit as horrifying, stressful, and chaotic as it can get when it comes to a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. By choosing to make the game virtual reality opposed to just having it be played on the desktop, Polar Dread is able to create some of the most unique experiences when it comes to a FNAF-style sit-and-survive game. And trust me, you will never be just sitting there while playing this game. Whether it's you scrambling to pick up an object off the floor to shut this animatronic up, or hiding under the desk to avoid this thing, Polar Dread always keeps you on your toes and makes sure that you're using your full body and range of motion while trying to survive. And by making the game such a
That is one thing that I thought was really cool and innovative about the game. So like, it wasn't just a typical FNAF fan game. It was VR. First of all, VR, so that was pretty cool. And in addition to that, like Squeaks, the person that made it, he added in all of these unique things, like the like the mounted heads on the wall. Like, they make noise and alert the animatronics, and you literally have to pelt them with things that you can find just to get them to shut up. Like, no FNAF fan game has ever had a mechanic like that, and that's just really cool. Like, there's a bunch of stuff like that where like each animatronic is different in how you deal with them, and that mixed with a VR setting is honestly what I think put this game so far apart from the standard like fan FNAF game.
A frantic, chaotic experience, it was always able to keep me fully engaged during the nights, with not a dull moment of gameplay. There are a few areas I do think the game could improve, but even with these minor nitpicks, this game still checks out to be an amazing indie horror game experience, and might even be my favorite fan game to date. So with that being said, let's jump straight into Polar Dread, a VR Five Nights at Freddy's fan game.
Let's go.
Now, the biggest reason why I think Polar Dread is one of the greatest fan games I've ever played is the motion controls. Or more specifically, how the game makes you use your full body and range of motion during each night.
Which is something that I just alluded to a few seconds ago. I'm sure he's going to go into it, but let's see what he's got to say.
Night 1, you are only going against 2 animatronics, Snark and Perry. Perry comes from the vent that is located behind you periodically throughout the night, and you will need to turn around and press this button to close the vent. If you leave the vent closed for too long, however, you will suffocate and get a game over. For Snark, you will need to watch him on this camera to see where he's at in the building, and basically just when he gets close, you just need to close the door by pressing this button on your desk. And you actually...
Which that's kind of like the standard Five Nights at Freddy's sort of deal that you get. Like, manage the vents, manage the door, getting a little bit of FNAF 3 in there with if the vents close too long, like, there's repercussions to your character, like resource management and things like that. That part's still there, but everything else is where it gets interesting.
Actually do have a power meter similar to FNAF 1, so you'll need to conserve as much power as possible. And I mean, you have to save a lot of power, because there was a lot of close calls where I had just barely any power left. Now, Night 1 starts it off pretty easy, making the only movements you need to do turning around to close the vent, scrolling through the cameras, and closing the door. This, however, will quickly change. On Night 2, we are introduced to Slush Bear and this pink toy Bonnie character. I'm not sure what their name is called. Slush Bear's trick is that he is not affected by the door. This
Damn right, I'm too swole. Too swole for those doors, they can't hold me.
means that when you hear Slush Bear's footsteps getting closer, you will need to prepare for him to enter your office. Once standing in your office, you will need to crouch down under the desk to hide from him. After a few seconds of being under the desk, he will wander back out of your office. If you are already under the desk before he enters the office, however, he will leave almost right away, which adds a new level of skill to the game, as if you're able to predict when he's coming and crouch before he even enters the office, you will be...
Okay, so my character's not exactly the brightest. If he doesn't immediately see you, he's not gonna know you're there, no matter what happens throughout the night. But he's a swole boy. Nothing can stop him except his own sight and his own stupidity. So hiding is definitely, yeah. Again, that's just one of the really cool, really cool mechanics that they put into this game. And honestly, I can appreciate it. But I'll get back to the video.
Be rewarded by having him exit the office faster. As for the pink Bonnie head on the wall, she will basically randomly start making loud noises and singing, and this will basically summon animatronics to your office. You will need to shut her down by picking up one of the objects around the room and throwing it at her. This is actually one of my favorite gameplay features in the whole game, so I'll be talking about it later in the video. But it's around here where you could probably start seeing how this game gets very chaotic very quickly. And this is only Night 2. Night 3 introduces 2 more animatronics once again, with the first one being another one of these animatronic head thingies that you're gonna have to throw stuff at, and this guy who goes by the name of Whack-E Mole. And his thing is that he will kill you if you are being too loud, which is basically if these guys won't shut up, or if you accidentally break bottles, I'm pretty sure, he will just come and kill you.
I have no idea about the breaking bottles part. Zero idea on if that affects Whack. But again, all about resource management, but taking a little bit of a spin on it, because you gotta be doing everything else and managing the noise level in the office. Because if not, if it gets too loud, he gonna get ya.
Now that doesn't seem like too much more to deal with in comparison to the jump from Night 1 to Night 2, but trust me, this game is not easy at all, and it actually took me a lot of attempts before I even beat Night 3. And Night 4 gets way worse. The first animatronic Night 4 introduces is Vicky, and her thing is that this TV in your office will basically turn on, and you will see her peeking her head out of this vent to your left. Similar to Slush Bear, you will need to hide under your desk. And trust me, ducking under the desk over and over is not easy and caused me to get extremely tired and overwhelmed while I was playing.
This game will work you. Just saying, like the VR aspect of it, you will get a workout done if you're playing this game.
But seriously, when there are moments when you need to crouch under the desk and you realize that you haven't checked the vents in a while, so you need to stand up and turn around as quickly as possible to close it, it can get very tiring. This night also introduces one more animatronic, and that is this mouse guy who will pop up on your face, and you will just need to grab him off your face and just throw him off. It's pretty fun throwing this guy, and while he's not much of a threat at all, there are a few moments where I remember him popping up at the absolute worst times possible.
Oh, I can see where that would be a very unfortunate circumstance. You're doing everything right, and then that little guy just, "What's up, everybody? I'm here to fuck up your day." Oh man.
But one thing I can say for certain about this game is that once you complete a night that you've been stuck on for a while, oh boy, does it feel good.
Always a cathartic feeling.
This brings me to my second reason why I think this game is just so amazing, and that is the overlapping animatronic mechanics, and the various solutions you can have to these encounters. Unlike some other FNAF fan games where what you should do is very clear, in this game it is not so much. For example, let's say I hear Slush Bear coming and one of the animatronic heads starts singing. I need to decide whether I'm going to throw the object at one of the animatronic heads before crouching down, or if I should crouch down first and take a riskier shot from a safer spot.
Once again, just another spin on the resource management that this game provides. It's unique, especially putting it into a VR context, because now not only are you trying to figure out, all right, should I duck or should I throw a bottle or a plush or something at one of the screeching heads, but also like, do I really want to squat at this time? Do I really want to do that to myself? Who knows? Oh, keep coming.
This gameplay is so genius, as these split-second decisions you need to make constantly left me second-guessing myself if I was making the right choice or putting myself in more danger. Another scenario I found myself in a lot is I would be hiding under the desk and I would realize I needed to quickly close the vent. So I would literally have to crawl over to the button just to close the vent. It's just little stuff like this that makes the game so much more immersive. When you're scrambling on the floor for an object to find or a button to press, it just feels so real.
It definitely does bring in a little bit of panic with all of these things overlapping as the nights progress.
I developed during the later nights when it got extremely hard was I would collect all the objects as soon as the night started and would stack them on my desk so that they were basically all ready to be thrown at a moment's notice. This is one of those things that is only possible in a VR experience, and I felt rewarded for coming up with strategies the game doesn't just outright tell you. The throwing mechanic is also a really cool idea, I think, because even during the most stressful part of the night, you will need to make sure that you slow yourself down and be patient with your throw. Because if you try to just toss the object out there, you will most likely miss and need to fumble around for another object.
It's also really cathartic to just yeet some shit at whatever's bugging you. Like, especially where the screeching heads are gonna bug you for sure. Not, like, aside from the I need to shut them up so I can progress through the night, but just like, no, fuck off. Like, it's gonna be a bit cathartic to just yeet something at those.
To throw. Lastly, I want to talk about the graphics and atmosphere that this game has. As you can tell from seeing the gameplay already, this game is extremely dark, forcing you to use this weak little flashlight you have in order to see anything. This isn't like those other horror games where they just give you a very powerful flashlight. No, in this game you will barely be able to see anything, even while flashing. And this makes the game feel so much scarier as areas you're not flashing your light feel vulnerable. Like staring down this vent not knowing if there's an animatronic crawling towards you is absolutely terrifying. Or not knowing if there's an animatronic at the door because you're too busy flashing something else in the room. Speaking of the animatronics, I think the animatronics in this game do a really good job on riding that thin line of being creepy while also looking like something that could actually be at a children's entertainment place. I think Perry is definitely the scariest animatronic.
Perry's actually also like an absolute meme in the Polar Dread community. Whether it's because like I'm on two Discord servers about this game. One is just the general community Discord, and then one is like a devs Discord, and everyone and their mother memes about Perry. So like he gets a lot of attention from pretty much everyone, devs and community. So it's good to hear him calling him out specifically.
In the game, something about how he looks at you while he's crawling is just so creepy. I also really like these head thingies on the wall. It's just a really weird concept, but I think it's pretty cool. Another cool thing I liked, which helped the game feel more immersive, is the fact that the power along with the time are both shown through your watch that's on your left hand. This cuts out the need for the game to have a HUD and lets you be fully immersed in the world. The animatronics also all have their own distinct voices, which helps to give them a little bit more personality.
They do. I do not have VR, unfortunately, but I am a voice in this game that this guy's making a video on. And this video dropped today, so I figured it would be a good, a kind of like a fun thing to do to watch this with you guys. Yeah, I am a voice of one of the animatronics in this video game. Um, so the game is called Polar Dread. It is a VR Five Nights at Freddy's fan game, and I am Slush Bear. In game, you don't get to hear me talk too much, but one cool thing about this game is that there are death lines that you get. So depending on which animatronic you lose to, you'll get a line from them. They also, I believe, in one of the newer updates, added in lines to start certain nights from certain characters. So you'll hear me if you start, I believe, night 2 on the newest version of the game.
And the game also features some pretty cool music tracks that play during the nights that just add that extra bit of intensity during the gameplay.
Music is pretty good here.
Now the game is not fully finished yet, and there are only 4 nights as of now, but I still see this game as an absolute must play for any Five Nights at Freddy's fan who owns a VR headset. Everything from the motion controls, gameplay mechanics, and atmosphere make it stand out so much to me and succeed in immersing me every time I play.
Oh, yeah.
Huge props to everyone who worked on this game. I believe you guys truly made an amazing fan game here that should be looked at as the standard when it comes to a VR Five Nights at Freddy's experience.
I will say, super props to the people that he just flashed on screen. They are the people that that made the game the game. Like, there are a few of us that just added voices and like gave some idea input, but they were very much the ones that made that game. So huge props to all of them.
And I can't wait to not only check out the final night being added to this game, but also any future projects coming from the team. So to answer the question, yes, Polar Dread is good, and you should definitely play it if you get the chance.
He goes by the name of Plain Trace, and he's got 32.9 thousand subscribers. So pretty beefy, pretty beefy platform to be talking about this game on, which I think is pretty cool. In addition to that, pretty nice. I wasn't specifically named in the video, but not gonna care about that. But my character was in it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that was the video on Polar Dread, and now we've got that segment out of the way, and we can actually do what I started this stream to do, which is play some Yu-Gi-Oh! All right.